Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Drain Domain Podcast. I'm your host, Byron Gutierrez. And at this point, we are in week 4 now of the podcast. So, 4 episodes down and a ton more to go. So, this episode, I wanted to kind of talk more to the young men and women. I mean, you can be old as well and want to get into plumbing, nothing wrong with that. But any person that's thinking and considering getting into plumbing and you don't really know where to start, I always have people that ask a ton of questions, usually on TikTok. Those videos where I talk about my experience tend to do very well. So I wanted to do a podcast episode on the starts and some requirements. Again, this is from Texas. I'm going to be looking at Texas specifically just because that's where I'm from and that's where I have my license at. So if you live in another state, please do your research to make sure that the information you can make it relevant to yourself as well. And I'm not just steering you in the wrong direction, right? I want to make it very clear that I am referring to Texas plumbing and the plumbing system and I guess, the system to get your plumbing license. If I look a little bit dead, it's because I feel a little bit dead. So yesterday, well, this whole week, I've been working a ton since school is finished for the semester. I dive a lot deeper into work, and I'm able to kind of really focus a lot more in learning and gaining that experience than what I usually would if I'm in classes. Just because now I have time to actually go through the problems and pick up those more difficult tasks and more difficult jobs than what I normally would, because usually I like to stay with repairs and replacements because it's just, something a little bit more simpler for me and something that I know how to do like the back of my hand. So now I'm able to do more of those kind of special investigations and kind of those mystery plumbing problems. The other day I had a sewage smell in a house, and toilet flange looked fine. It wasn't just the master bathroom that they could smell it, and outside. So I had the toilet flange was going good, and all the P traps were good. Nothing was dry. So what we're gonna end up doing is actually a smoke test. So be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be something very interesting, and hopefully you guys can learn and see kind of how we find those leaks and the sewage smell. But regardless, uh, I've been, kind of working hard this whole week. And yesterday I had like 6 service calls. I was working all day and I'm extremely, extremely exhausted this morning. But we actually have more jobs to do today. So not quite the time to rest yet. So I want to talk about, of course, my start and why you should consider being in plumbing. And also, kind of the comparison between college and plumbing because I'm doing both, right? And I feel like, some people there say I waste my time in college because in plumbing you don't even need to go, you don't need a degree, obviously. But I like that I did that. The reason is, first of all, I know a lot more about business and marketing because that's my degree. Um, than what I would if I didn't. It's something that you can learn. The thing about college is you can learn a lot of the stuff through books, through research, of course. There's so much information out there. You have AI at this point where it can literally tell you answers in a matter of seconds and even create marketing campaigns and stuff like that. But I'm glad that I went to college because it's an accelerated learning is how I look at it. It's something that I could learn on the field. It's something that I could learn through my experiences, but going to college, I was able to get that knowledge in a more accelerated pace than what I would if I didn't go to college. So I'm very happy that I went to college. I don't feel like I've wasted these last 4 years. I feel like if anything it's helped me structure my company a lot better, my dad's company a lot better, and it has helped us really kind of leap into the future and, the innovations of it. So, if you're considering going to college or plumbing and that's one of the decisions you have to make, for many of you, unfortunately, that luxury won't technically really be there. Um, Usually it's kind of one or the other. And there's nothing wrong with that, but my thoughts on college is that it's great tools. I've learned a lot. There's so much job placements that they can help you with. I went to the University of Houston, one of the top business schools in Texas. So it's a really, really good university, especially Bauer College of Business. They have been really, really good, and the professors have been amazing. They have taught me well. Of course, you have your professors that like overload you with work and all that. Um, but yeah, I mean, yesterday after the 6 jobs, I took a 200 question final exam. So just to kind of put you in perspective of what I've been dealing with. But yeah, 4 weeks of podcast episodes. We're now on Spotify. We're now on YouTube. We've been doing this for you guys, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. I know that it can be boring just hearing me the whole time, and we're really trying to get more people on here. Sometimes they say yes, and then they end up not pulling through, and so much different options that happen in situations. But regardless of that, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. We're gonna keep pulling out episodes. We're gonna keep talking about topics that I feel like is relevant to you, and we're just gonna keep moving forward because that's what we do. So again, going back to college, that's really all I can say about college. I learned a lot about financing. I learned a lot about accounting, um, the buyer behavior, entrepreneurship, sales. There's been so much that I've learned through college at an accelerated rate that now that I'm moving to the next parts of my life, which is the career parts, I feel like those tools have helped me kind of set me up in the right direction to where I feel more comfortable being out here in the field, in the working environment, because I've heard it's really rough to get a job right now. That's what I've heard. I've heard that the job market is not the best at the moment. Hopefully it changes in the future. But I heard that it's really tough to get a job. There's people that I know that they've worked for corporate companies and they've gotten let go, and 6 to 9 months they haven't had a job, even though they have all the experience in the world. They have their degrees, they have their beautifully built resume. So that's the downside of it, right? That there's just jobs. And one thing that doesn't interest me is doing the same thing every single day. That is one of the most boring things for me personally, and that is why I wanted to be in plumbing. The flexibility of it, me being to be in this area one day, the next day I'm in this area, or I'm in this area for a couple of days, and I move here, and that's something that really I enjoy doing, and it's something that keeps me not bored at my job because you meet new people. For example, this guy, he's been my dad's customer for like 20 years that I'm going to today. And I never met him. He's heard about me, but he's never met me and I've never met him. And he's a great customer. So I'm looking forward to that meetup. And that's one of the things that I love. So what makes me passionate about plumbing? What kind of makes me want to be a plumber? What makes me do these podcasts? What makes me do the TikTok videos and put all my time and effort into all these things so that you guys can learn? And it's quite simple. It is people. I love being able to talk to people. I love hearing the stories of people. I've said this before, and I love interacting with people in a way to where I can solve their problems and bring them the solutions that they had no idea was even there, you know? So that's something that I really enjoy doing. I enjoy sales a ton. Sales is probably my main passion. It's something that I do really well in, and I've done well for as long as I remember that interpersonal skills and those people skills and stuff like that. It has been something that's been my strength for as long as I can remember, really. I never really had a problem getting a job in high school and college, and when I wasn't doing plumbing, it was something that was really easy for me, and I think that it was just the way that I interacted with the interviewer and the way that they felt my presence, and it's something that really kind of felt like the place for me to go, right? So as far as, like, my passion goes, I just love talking to people, and with plumbing and residential plumbing, dude, you're talking to people, like, every single day, whether it's on the phone, whether it's, talking to them. Yesterday, not yes well, for the last 2 days, really, so what was it? I'm filming this on Saturdays, but so Wednesday and Thursday, or Thursday and Friday, I was with this customer's house, and we were talking about for like an hour and a half, like no joke. I had a slower day that day on Thursday, And we were just talking, and we were talking about his car, and he got a brand new car, and I was like, I have something similar, and this and that. So he was telling me his experiences, and this is an older gentleman, and it was just great for me, like, sure, I mean, I maybe I could have been out of there an hour and a half before, but, I mean, it's something that resonates with the customer, something that resonates with you, and you end up having a more joyful experience working in their house, and they feel more comfortable with it, and that's something that always kind of intrigued me. So that's why I love plumbing. That's why I love doing what I do. I get to talk to people. I get to do stuff like this, something more creative, and I mean, for the last 4, well, I guess 6 weeks now. For the last 6 weeks, I've been, recording episodes, and I've been talking to this mic for like 45 minutes to an hour every week. So that just goes to show how much I talk, right? I'm definitely a talker. So that's something that really kind of brings me into the trade. And I think that I would excel at any trade, to be honest, because that's just the communication that I have, and my how do I want to say this? My ability to adapt to different environments, and me being able to pick up stuff right now is something that really are my strengths. And so it doesn't matter what trade I'm in. I mean, it doesn't matter what situation I'm in. I could be in new construction, I could be in commercial, I could be in industrial. I feel strongly that I can do well in those and adapt to those areas because ever since I can remember, I've had to adapt. I've had to adapt to different circumstances and situations. I'm sure that you guys have done the same. I'm sure that some of you guys can feel like if we're talking to each other and this is like a mirror, you talking to yourself. So that's something that really I feel like something that I can do. And plumbing is this really big umbrella. Whenever you think of plumbing, some people think of just sewage and toilets and stuff like that, and there's so much to it that I could spend probably the next hour just talking about different plumbing systems, different ways that plumbers go about their jobs. But to keep it simple, you've got residential, you've got commercial, you've got industrial, and new construction, of course. And new construction kind of goes into all those. But first of all, is understand why you want to be a plumber. I understand that there may not be a passion there. It may not be something that you're like, oh, I want to be a plumber. That's my main goal in life. Uh, like me, for example, like I grew up around plumbing, so plumbing was something that I could definitely fall back on, or definitely if I didn't feel like I could get a degree, or if I felt like I didn't want to get a degree, I could always go back to plumbing. And some of you guys, um, it's just the money. To be honest, it's just the money. Let's keep it, 100% honest. Some of you guys, the only reason why y'all want to be a plumber is because you guys hear, if you want to become a millionaire, if you want to become rich, become a plumber and stuff like that. And there's a certain level of truth to it. Like there's a certain level of truth to everything, right? Um, if you work for a company, are you gonna become a millionaire? Maybe or maybe not. Probably most likely not, to be honest, just because again, there's just limitations to it, and you have to think outside the box. Come on, guys. Like if you're young and if you are thinking about getting into plumbing to become rich, you have to do it in a creative way. You have to be creative. You have to probably get your own master's license so that you can have your own company and be creative and grow that company, to extraordinary levels, which I'm looking forward to. But if you really want to set yourself apart, and if you really want to make the big bucks in plumbing, you gotta be creative. You can't go about it in a step-by-step process and just be like, "Oh, today I'm gonna do this. Today I'm gonna limit myself to this." If you want to become a millionaire in plumbing, if you want to make a ton of money, you have to think outside the box. You can't be doing it the way that you would assume. You just go to school, you go to work, you become a millionaire. It does not work like that. And I'm far away from becoming a millionaire. I am probably the farthest that I could ever be. But everyone wishes of financial freedom. Everyone wishes of flexibility in their work, and everyone wishes, and especially when you're young, of having that big house, of having that car, of having all these different things. And so I'm telling you right now, if you're thinking about doing the plumbing, to do that, to be able to obtain all that, You have to think outside the box. Stop being normal. Stop doing the normal task and doing the bare minimum, because if you do the bare minimum, you're going to get the bare minimum in return. I promise you. Do more than what you're being paid to do, and you're going to see your pockets are going to be filled even more. So that's one of my advice that I have. And I really want to inspire and kind of guide those newcomers into the plumbing trade, because it's something that there's job security here. I talked about there's not really a job market out there with degrees and universities, but in plumbing, people tell me all the time, I can't find a job in plumbing. These young people, they message me, and I told them, I was like, how many companies have you called this last week, this month? You know, what have you been trying to do to get in contact with them? If do they have a physical office? Have you pulled up to the physical office asking if they can take you in as an apprentice? And they tell me, no, I haven't done that yet. I'm gonna do it. Stop being lazy. That's why you don't have a job in plumbing. If you think it's hard to get a job in plumbing, it's because you're being lazy. I'm sorry I have to say it this like straightforward, but it's the truth. I tell you guys the tools. I give you guys the roadmap. I give you guys the map. I even give you the car at points, and you guys still say that I can't find the road. It's right there in front of you. There's so much opportunity around you. And if you're in those bigger cities as well, dude, there's jobs. There's so many jobs, man. There's people retiring every single day in plumbing, and there's not enough people replacing them. And so, if you're considering being a plumber, understand that there's jobs out there. You have to do your work. Like I said, you can't do the bare minimum, because you're not going to obtain nothing. So think outside the box and understand that there's careers out there, and there's different ways that you can go into plumbing, right? There's trade schools, there's apprenticeships, on job trainings and stuff like that. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into it, but there's so many ways to get into it. So why should you even consider a career in plumbing? And the reason is job stability. As I said, there's high demand for plumbers. There's high demand for any trade, really. And it's one of those recession proof careers that they talk about. Uh, I feel like lately we've been talking a lot about potential recessions, about potential, I don't know, destruction of the economy going down, and all these things that worry people. And plumbing is something that's not going to go away. It's something that's not going to become automated. It's something that's not going to be replaced. AI cannot replace plumbing. Um, it can help you find a solution, but it cannot replace plumbing. Why? Because someone actually has to do the work at the end of the day. So, if there is a recession, if there is a downturn in the economy, plumbers, if you got a good salesperson, a good marketing technique, your company is going to be flowing. And it's because plumbing is essential to everyone's daily life. People don't realize that until they have no plumbing, until they have an issue. So understand that there's job stability in plumbing. Understand the income potential is high, right? You can earn competitive salaries, and there's growth opportunities in plumbing. And so let's go ahead and look and see what kind of the average numbers for different, I guess, licenses. So let's start with the apprenticeship, right? Because you guys are going to become apprentices. Okay, so how much does an apprentice plumber make in Texas? The average of $19 per hour, or $39,000 annually. So the top earners for apprentices, they earn approximately 52,638 dollars annually, or about $25 an hour. 75th percentile, 44,300 annually, or $21 per hour. And a 25th percentile is 31,700 annually, or $15 an hour. Some of the highest paying cities for apprentice plumbers in Texas, interestingly enough: Dallas Fort Worth with $23 an hour, Irving $22.39 per hour, Weatherford Ford, I don't even know where that is, $22.36 per hour, Buda, I don't know where that is again, 21.89 per hour, and Fort Worth, so again, Dallas area, 21.74 per hour. As of November 29th, 2024, the average hourly pay for an apprentice plumber in Texas is 18.75. So hmm, there's a lot of if you're a young person just getting into the job market, those are good numbers to hear. Those are really, really good numbers to hear. Um, I know people that they have their own place. They're able to live pretty comfortably right now, with 19, $20 an hour. So definitely some good money there. So let's look at the next license, the tradesman in Texas. In Texas, a tradesman plumber salary can vary depending on their experience, location, and skill level. The average annual salary for a tradesman plumber in Texas is $69,178, with a range of $54,000 to $93,165. The average hourly wage for a tradesman plumber in Texas is $33, with a range of 26 to 44. Here are some tradesman plumber salaries in Texas from different companies. TNT Plumbing, 15 to 35 an hour. SWAT Plumbing LLC, 62K to 156K uh dollars. Let's go with AIM Plumbing. Uh I heard it. When did I hear them? I think this week, something. Oh, sorry. I was getting off track a bit. 25 to $50 an hour. ZipRecruiter says, as of November 29th, 2024, the average hourly pay for a tradesman plumber in Texas is $33.26 an hour. I'm a tradesman plumber. Just want to say that right now. Do I make that much? No, no. I wish I did, but you know, um, that's a jump. We're talking about $19 an hour, and with the license, so with 4,000 hours that you're able to get, and you're under your apprenticeship, you go from $19 an hour to $33 an hour. Let's look at a percent change. So let's see. Let's see. 19 to 33. That's a 73% increase. Is that correct? I believe so. Let's just go with that. 73% increase. So, that just goes to show, and just 4,000, because in 4,000 hours, you can get your, tradesman license. You take your exam. That's what I did. So, a lot of people say to wait for 8,000 hours and get your journeyman. I wanted to get as much licenses as I could. So I went from my apprenticeship that I started at 16 to my tradesman, and, gonna be getting my journeyman here soon. So let's look at that. Keep in mind, it was $33 for, um, for tradesmen. So let's see. In Texas, they can vary depending on city, experience, skill level, and Houston. The average salary for a journeyman plumber in Houston is 66,584 per year, about $32 an hour. Dallas Fort Worth, uh, between 20 and 50. Annual salary, 75th percentile, $74,000 dollars a year. Average $65,000 a year. 25th percentile, $56,000 a year. So if you're looking at monthly pay, I mean, for the 75th percentile, it's 6,185. For average, 5,456, and for the lower 25th percentile, 4,745. So not much different there, but you are able to do more work, so you're able to get more jobs going. So if you are on an hourly pay, hourly salary, you're able to do a lot more, which is one of the benefits of it. And ultimately, let's talk about the ultimate license, which is the master's. In Texas, a master plumber salary can range from 57,300 to 110,000 dollars annually, or 28 to $52 per hour. The top earners are 109,935 annually, 75th percentile $86,200 annually, average 74,582 annually, and the 25th percentile 57,300 annually. So, let's talk about that because you went from apprenticeship to tradesman and it shot up dramatically, and now we see kind of a more lower kind of jump. And let me tell you one thing: if you have that master's, it's leaving out one crucial key element, and it's having your own company. If it's something that you want to do, which is not easy by any means, your potential for how much you make annually is unlimited. You can make unlimited amount of money. You can make unlimited amount. It all depends on how hard you work. It all depends on how much you're able to put in. How hard are you willing to work? How much time are you willing to invest into it? But understand that there's a trade-off, and the trade-off is you give up something for something in return. You go to plumbing and you give up going to school for university, or something along those lines, right? And the trade-off for this is, if you have your own company, the time that you spend on there is something that you're gonna have to trade off, because there's other people that want your time as well. I know me growing up, I wanted I maybe wanted my dad to be around and more involved a little bit more. But he was working. He was working hard, and I don't hold that against him. I never will. He was working hard, and me working now, I understand what he was going through. I understand that how much time he dedicated to his work to make sure that we had food on our table, to make sure to where when Christmas came along, which is almost Christmas time, but when Christmas came along, we could have gifts under the tree and we could spend Thanksgiving with food on our table. And so I really admire him for that, but understand that there's a trade-off for it. So if you're a young guy, understand that you have to give up something for something. If you're young, if you're in your early 20s, in your teens even, and you want to be a plumber, understand that now is the time to do it. Now is the time to put your hours in. Now is the time to decide. Don't be lazy. Don't say, when I'm 25, when I'm 30, I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff together. Go ahead and give yourself a head start in this, because there's many people that think that way. And if you're able to change your thinking, and if you're able to expand your mind to be like, no, now is the time to do it, I guarantee you, by the time you are 25 or 30, you're going to be in such a good place that you are going to be happy that you listened to me. You're going to be happy that you put in the time now. And that's exactly what I am doing as well. That's why I'm going to the university. That's why I'm working on my plumbing license. That's why before the age of 25, I'm going to be a master plumber. That is the reason why I'm doing all these things. So when I do have a family, I can spend time with them, because that's the balance that I want to have. So now let's talk about what it takes to become a plumber, right? Because you've heard the salaries, you've heard an introduction, but now you're probably thinking, okay, but what does it take to be a plumber? So we talked about skills, that your salary depends on your skills. So one of the most important skills to have is problem solving. Okay. And the reason is, plumbing is solving problems, right? It's solving problems in a plumbing system. And many times, I've said this before, you do not have the solution given to you. You have to find it. You don't even know what the problem is half the time. You have to find the problem first. So if you're someone that gets easily uh, stressed or frustrated and gives up, plumbing is probably not for you, because the amount of stress that this job has at times is tremendous. The amount of tight spaces that you're gonna have to work through, and uncomfortable situations, on the job site where you're in uncomfortable areas, you have to be able to adapt to those. So you have to have good problem solving skills. You have to have good physical stamina, decent amount. You have to pay attention to detail and communication, right? Attention to detail is important because it goes back to your customer care, which we talked about last, episode. Some of the personality traits that I see do good in plumbing are patience, adaptability, and your willingness to learn. Understand that you are not going to know everything about plumbing, and within a year, you still don't really know nothing. Within 2 years, maybe you start to learn a little bit more. You start to really kind of grasp the idea of plumbing, but you don't really know plumbing. It's until you go to like 20, 15, 20 years to where you really, it's like the back of your hand, and maybe not that much, right? But understand that you got to learn, you got to keep learning. There's things that change, there's different innovations, there's different code changes that you have to adapt to, and you have to learn all these things. So if you don't like learning, if it's something that you feel like that's a waste of your time, plumbing is not for you, right? So some of the steps to get started is research the trade that you want to get into, right? If you're in plumbing, understand what plumbing entails, understand what type of plumbing aligns with your interest, where do you want to work in, and start researching it, start seeing, what does a company require for me to get in there? You know, um, I know that in Texas, for you to get your apprenticeship, you just have to work under a master plumber. So if a master plumber is willing to take you in, then you're already halfway there, right? Find a program. You can talk about trade schools or apprenticeship programs in your area. We just talked about apprenticeship programs and now trade schools. A lot of people ask me about trade schools, and I don't know what to tell them because I didn't go to trade school. Okay, so ask questions about trade school. If there's someone out there that went to trade school for plumbing, let me know how it was like. Let me know if you feel like it was worth it. Let me know if you'd rather do an apprenticeship because I don't know anyone that went to trade school for plumbing. Personally, I don't know anyone. I just don't. Like I wish I did. I go to my continuing education courses and I talk to plumbers and none of them say, "Yeah, I went to trade school for it." They all say they got their apprenticeship. So it seems like that's kind of like the more basic route to go through. And um, so and then once you get the program, you get your licenses, build that experience, and of course, stay committed, continue learning, continue upping your skills, continue upping your knowledge, and you'll see that you're going to have a very, very successful career in plumbing. So I talked about get licensed there, and I kind of skipped over it quickly just because I wanted to kind of dive deeper into it as well. So we're gonna go to the Texas State Board, and we're going to look for license types, license types overview. Um, let's see. I'm trying to look for the documents. They have documents here. Apprenticeship registration. Okay. So, most of you guys, if you're watching this episode, you most likely, if you're gotten up to here, you want to be a apprentice plumber. So, eligibility. You may register as a plumber's apprentice, and this is straight from the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners website. So, if you want to visit it, if you're in Texas, look up tsbpe.texas.gov. It's going to take you there and you can just look through it, browse through it, has all the requirements, and you can create your own online login and stuff like that. So you may register as a plumber's apprentice if you are at least 16 years old and you are a citizen or national of the United States or an alien or non-immigrant eligible for license served by the state of Texas. Um, to register for a plumbing apprentice, you must submit a completed application and a $15 fee to the TSBPE. If you have been convicted of a felony, you must also submit a supplemental criminal history information form, and you can get those forms from the website. Um, how to register? Again, you just complete the application, submit your fee. The application is going to ask you where you're working at, information about yourself, possibly even maybe document details of like a document, like your license or something like that. Um, mm, mm, mm. You can submit all the paperwork online, which is what I did, which is very neat. But you can also mail it in. It's going to take a little bit longer to get processed, of course. And in Texas, they changed it to where now you have to get fingerprints. And the way all applicants and examinees in the state of Texas are required by law to submit fingerprint data. This is a one-time requirement. Do, 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 do. So to get your fingerprints, you go once your apprentice already, go through the website. It'll give you the steps to get your fingerprints done. You do it through them, and it's a very easy process, guys. I don't know if you guys if that's a deal breaker for you guys. It shouldn't be because it's just there to protect homeowners and to protect yourself, of course. So Scope of work permitted for a apprentice. A plumber's apprentice may learn about and assist with the installation of plumbing under the direct supervision of a licensed plumber. Direct supervision means that a person who holds a plumbing license issued by the TSBPE is on the job site with you at all times. Are all times you are performing plumbing work. If a licensee is not present, a plumber's apprentice may only perform manual tasks like digging trenches. That is clear of what you can and cannot do as a plumbing apprentice. If you have a really good plumber that's kind of watching you and someone that actually wants to see you thrive in the industry, they'll let you do the work and kind of guide you and be right there with you. If they're not there, you're stuck digging trenches, you're stuck grabbing tools, etc., etc. Important, you must register as a plumbing apprentice before you can start counting the hours of experience you have working in a plumbing trade. Any hours worked before you are registered do not count towards the hour requirements for the tradesman plumber limited or journeyman plumber examinations. So guys, get it done. If you are working currently as a plumber, find a way to get your apprenticeship going because you want to get those hours. That is the main thing as to how you can get your licenses. You could have all the experience in the world, but if you only have 500 hours under your belt, you're not taking that exam. Possible endorsements. A plumber's apprentice who meets an eligibility requirements may obtain a drain cleaner restricted registration, a drain cleaner registration, or a residential utilities installer registration. So these registrations, they're kind of, you add them onto your license, and so you're able to do more work. You have to submit paperwork for it and probably an exam as well. But really, really good endorsements to have. I believe every single license has endorsements. So some fees that you need to think about: registration application fee is $15. The renewal fee is $15 as well. Late renewal fee, if it's expired less than 90 days, is 7.50, gosh, $7.50 above the 15. And if it has been expired for more than 90 days, it's a $15 fee. So if you go through the TSBPE website, you're able to see about them. You're able to see the license types if you want to look into other ones. Right now, I'm just talking about apprenticeship. So that's really where we're focusing in. Training and education, there's different overviews. CPE, exam training, provider login. Let's look at training and education overview. Continue education. No. Okay. I thought they were going to talk about possibly trade schools, but I don't see any, unfortunately. So, yeah, guys, that's what goes into licensing for plumbing. I know it was a lot of information, but if you're in Texas and you want to learn more, go to tsbpe.texas.gov and you'll be able to see all the stuff, all the requirements and stuff to consider. But importantly, get your apprenticeships, geez, started. And different states have different requirements. There's some states that they don't have an apprenticeship program. There's some states that require different things. So always look at your state first. I know that in Texas, let's see if I put if you have a license in Texas or other state, if you have a plumbing license in Texas. So Texas currently reciprocates plumbing licenses with Louisiana and Arkansas. So usually it's a similar kind of approach to the licensing with Louisiana and Arkansas. Some states they kind of go together with others. So always again do your research with your area, um, and you'll see that it's going to be a lot easier to get into there. Okay, so the challenges and the rewards of a job as a plumber. Challenges: physically demanding. You're going to be crawling in attics at times. You're going to be digging trenches. Digging trenches is usually the start for everyone. That's the way that I started. It's the way that my dad started. It's the way that probably 75% of plumbers started in the industry is digging a trench. If that's something that kind of maddens you and that makes you quit, you got a long road ahead of you, buddy, because there's a lot more to plumbing, and digging trench sucks. Okay, don't get me wrong. There's some people that enjoy it or that it's easier for them, but for some people, it's a really demanding task. But understand that that just shows how dedicated you are to plumbing. That shows to others you're willing to work, and those master plumbers that they're looking at you because you're under their belt, because you're under you're their apprentice. They want to make sure that you're there for the long run, right? So understand that at times it can be physically demanding. Don't take it personal. It's just the way that it is. It's the type of industry that it is. And that's my best advice to say because you're gonna be digging at one point or another, most likely early on. At times it can be irregular hours. Like I said yesterday, I was working a ton, the day before, maybe I got up maybe like at 3 PM. Yesterday I got up maybe like at 7 or 8 PM. Started off early in the day as well. So some days you work more, some days you work less. It's just those what is it called? It fluctuates. That's what I was looking for. It fluctuates from day to day. Some of the rewards, of course, is your job satisfaction. Whenever you get that job done, whenever you're able to solve that solution, man, it's just a good feeling, especially once you see that paycheck at the end of the week or 2 weeks, whatever the case may be. It's really rewarding. Um, and the opportunities to specialize or start a business eventually, I think that that should be the goal for a lot of you. A lot of you, other people, they may not be good in business, and that's perfectly fine. There's people that they make the mistake of getting into business, not understanding that business is its own separate thing from being a plumber. If you're a good plumber, you might not be a good businessman. If you're a good businessman, you might not be a plumber. But occasionally you get those people that they're good at both. And usually, if you're good at one or the other, they combine their minds and they come together to create a very good company, which is always great to see. So, typically, my day in the life as a plumber, I wake up usually around 6 a.m. Um, I get ready. I try to be out the door by 7:30. I start my job, and depending on what we have, we have, like I mentioned last episode, we have the app where it tells you kind of what's on the schedule, and so I just see what happens. I'll go over, I guess, yesterday then. So yesterday, I started off my work pretty early. I went to a restaurant here in Houston that we have an account with, and I did a tankless water heater flush. After that, I went to go install two lavatories and a toilet at a house that they had just done a remodel. Had to do the drains as well for the lavatories, and then I went over to more downtown area, and I posted a TikTok about it yesterday. There was a drain underneath and it wasn't draining good, but that drain's like has freaking stairs on it. I don't know. They put a bunch of elbows and stuff. So that work needs to be done. And then after that, I went to go to a kitchen faucet replacement. And then after that, I went to a dryer vent cleaning that we had to do. And after that, I went to a pop up that was corroded that I had to replace. So as you can see, it's just a ton of stuff. We don't have a huge corporate office, so I bring it back to the van back to where I reside, and I make sure I lock everything up. Make sure everything is locked up too, by the way, guys. If you're getting into plumbing, there are bad people out there that are going to steal your stuff. They're gonna steal it. It's something that they are going to look and see what your habits are. If you don't lock that door, they will steal it. We've had a situation where we were at a house. I was talking with my dad inside the house, and maybe like not even 50 feet, we stepped in for maybe 5 minutes before heading back out. They took a bunch of our tools. So always make sure you lock things up. And if you can add safety, extra uh, precautions to prevent thievery, then please do so. Talk to your company about that. So that's really what I gotta say about that. For plumbing, as far as it goes, as far as my advice for young men and women that want to get into plumbing, understand that you have a ton of growth. Understand that your potential when you start off is going to be very high because you don't know anything about plumbing, But if you want to make it to the point to where you make the big bucks in plumbing, if you want to make it to where you can have that financial freedom, understand that it's going to be a journey. Understand that it's not going to be easy. You've got to solve problems, stay true to yourself, and do good for others. If you're in plumbing, whether you're working for a company, working for yourself in the future, not right now because you can't until you're a master in Texas, um, or if you're working at any point and you have a customer, do what's right for the customer and understand that this industry is going down because not a lot of people want to get into it. So you have a lot of advantage already just considering being in plumbing. So stay curious, stay humble, and be open to learning. And you're going to see that your potential to be a plumber is going to be extremely high and you're going to do very, very great things. Understand that you have to network in this industry. It's something that maybe not a lot of people do because it's kind of awkward, talking to other plumbers at times because sometimes, they just not the most communicative people in the world. So try to build relationships in the trade and try to understand that mentorship is key. If you have a mentor that can help you and guide you in your journey, it's going to make it a lot easier. My mentor is my dad, of course, and he has done an amazing job with that. And whenever I'm I guess, in a situation to where I have to be a mentor, I know that I had a good mentor to look up to try to show the mentoree or whatever you call it, um, when my time has come. Work ethic, show up on time, work hard, and don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. It's plumbing, guys. I mean, wear gloves, of course, but understand that at times it can be a dirty job. You are gonna get muddy, you are gonna get dirty, you are gonna be smelly at times. But know that if you work hard, it's gonna be rewarding for you. And if you're a woman or a minority and you feel like plumbing might not be for you, understand that plumbing is for everyone. Understand that you have all the opportunity as well. It is not a male only job. There has been a ton of great female plumbers out there that have done amazing, amazing things. And I believe that you guys can as well. And if you are young, and this will kind of be my closing remarks. If you are young, if you're a teenager, if you're in your 20s and even your 30s, early 30s. Understand that you are young. You have a ton of life ahead of you. If you don't know if plumbing is right for you yet, go ahead and try to be a plumber. Try to do something. Try to at least start your apprenticeship. It's $15. Go ahead and try it because you never know where the road will take you, but you will never know if you don't take a step onto that road and take that first step, take that leap of faith, and you're going to see that it could be a lot better than what you thought. And if it's not that route, if you're afraid of failure, if that's something that it's something that scares you. If you're like, well, what if in a couple years I don't like it, or maybe I don't like plumbing? That's perfectly fine. You're young. You have the opportunity to go into something. At least you know that you tried to be a plumber and it didn't work out, and that is completely fine. Not everyone in this world is supposed to be a plumber. And for those that do end up becoming a plumber, I look forward to hearing of your success. I look forward to you getting started. More importantly, just get started, and you're gonna see the doors are gonna open up for you. Go and look for that information. Always stay humble, always stay hungry, always stay working hard. And as always, I'll see you guys next week on Wednesday at 6. And I look forward to more episodes, and happy holidays to you all. If I don't see you guys before the holidays, I think that I'll see you guys one last time, I believe. Let's see. Today is two more times. So I get to see you guys two more times before the holidays. But if you guys celebrate anything before that, happy holidays and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you guys again. This is Byron Gutierrez with the Drain Domain Podcast. Thank you for listening, and we will see you guys on the next one. Peace.